From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Arizona is under a statewide health emergency due to the opioid epidemic. We take you inside the command center to see how the Department of Health is working to reduce addiction and overdoses.
Plus, how a U.S. Border Patrol program is trying to save the lives of undocumented immigrants crossing the border under extreme conditions.
And President Trump still plans to build a 30-foot concrete border wall. But this Arizona City Councilwoman says she's not budging for any construction.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Emily Bloom.
And I'm Patricio Espinosa. Thank you for joining us. Arizona is battling an opioid epidemic. Just over 24 hours ago, Governor Doug Ducey signed an emergency declaration to address the growing number of opioid deaths in the state. Last year, nearly 800 people overdosed. Cronkite News reporter Tyler Fingert has been following the story since the very beginning. He's in the broadcast center with what public health officials are doing to fight back. Tyler?
The response was quick from the Arizona Department of Health Services, opening a health emergency operations center just hours after Governor Ducey's declaration. Tonight, we're giving you a first look inside the operations center, which opened yesterday afternoon as they track opioids' hold on Arizona.
This is going to save lives.
Tonight, new urgency in the fight against opioid overdoses.
We're hoping to make an impact on it with some quick, decisive action.
At the Health Emergency Operations Center in Phoenix, this is what they've been prepping for.
Every situation has a focus. This one being opioid is new for us.
The Operations Center is a statewide multi-agency coordination center with a goal of protecting the public from health threats.
The suspected opioid overdoses.
The state health department has been looking at the opioid problem for a while, but without reliable data, it's been difficult to track.
We don't have great data on opioid deaths. Our opioid death data can lag a year behind. And so we noticed in October we were still updating deaths that occurred in January.
The health department is taking a look around the country, looking to other states for the best way to handle the problem, with a goal of making Arizona just as good or better.
I think every state is in a different spot, so I don't know that we have catching up to do. I think the entire nation has been impacted, and some states have best practices. In Arizona, we have some best practices, so that's why it's so important to do that 50-state crosswalk.
The Department of Health says this is the first statewide public health emergency in at least 10 years. They say their ultimate goal is to find ways to decrease addiction and overdoses. In the broadcast center, Tyler Fingert, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is dedicated to covering the opioid crisis in Arizona and nationwide. Our documentary, Hooked RX, From Prescription to Addiction, highlights the problem of painkillers here in our state. You can watch the documentary and find resources for getting help online at hookedrx.com.
And the dangers of opioids extend to more than just users. Federal officials warn that a powerful synthetic form of the drug can also present a threat to police and first responders. That was actually the warning today from the Justice Department and the Drug Enforcement Administration. Cronkite News reporter Emma Lockhart is live in our D.C. bureau with the story. Emma?
The synthetic opiate fentanyl is one of the leading causes of the opioid epidemic, but opioid users are not the only ones who are affected. I was at a DEA press conference earlier today where I learned how law enforcement officers are also susceptible.
This is in every county, this is in every community in our country.
50 times more potent than heroin and gaining popularity, fentanyl poses a great risk to users and those who come in contact with it. DEA officials are warning law enforcement and first responders of the dangers.
A few milligrams of fentanyl, maybe the equivalent of 5 or 6 or 7 grains of table salt, can kill you.
Ingesting, inhaling, even absorbing the drug through the skin can lead to an overdose. 2 detectives from Atlantic County, New Jersey, suffered from just opening up a small bag of a powdered form of fentanyl and inhaling it.
Felt like you were dying. You couldn't breathe. Very disoriented. And everything you did was exaggerated in your mind, I guess. It was the most bizarre feeling that I never, ever would want to feel again, to be honest with you.
Cases like this have occurred throughout the country.
of all of this is national awareness. This is truly of epidemic proportion.
The DEA is encouraging local training and education to help protect those handling the drug. Among warnings from officials today was also a reminder that police dogs are also at risk, and in some instances what looks like heroin could actually be pure fentanyl. In those cases, officers should always assume the worst. In Washington, Emma Lockhart, Cronkite News.
The Border Patrol Rescue Program, known as BORSTAR, held a demonstration to explain its improved rescue tactics to help distressed illegal border crossers. Cronkite News reporter Sunena Tandon traveled to Yuma for the demonstration.
This April, more than 4,500 undocumented immigrants were found attempting to cross the southwest border. According to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, BORSTAR was created as a way to reduce the deaths caused by the extreme conditions these immigrants face on their journey to the United States.
Our team's responsibility is to provide a rapid response capability in the event of a search and rescue.
The rocky desert creates less than ideal circumstances.
You're not going to be able to carry enough water or food to last to make it up to where you want to go in the United States.
About a year ago, the calls of distressed immigrants were lost through errors in miscommunication. But now, U.S. and Mexico have solved that problem by collaborating on 911 calls. Now, 911 calls are received by Mexico's C4. There, they process and relay information to BORSTAR. Then BORSTAR begins its mission to rescue the immigrant in distress. This flow of information has created a higher rescue rate.
When one country collaborates with another, it benefits them both.
In 2015, there were about 2,100 rescues. That number increased to almost 4,000 rescues in 2016. In Yuma, Sunena Tandon, Cronkite News.
The U.S. Border Patrol reported 322 deaths on the southwest border in 2016.
And several local governments in southern Arizona will not support President Trump's plan to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Today, the Pima County Board of Supervisors voted to pass a resolution opposing the wall in Tucson. City Councilwoman Regina Romero says Tucson will not do business with any company that takes part in the construction, planning, or funding of the wall, and she wants an ordinance to make that official.
We need to make sure that we have some sort of teeth in the ordinance to make sure that companies understand that this is a very serious issue and we take it very seriously.
And the City Council is set to vote on the proposed ordinance tonight. Meanwhile, the Tohono O'odham Nation has also shared its opposition to the wall. The tribal reservation runs across the Arizona and Mexico border. Officials have invited the White House to consider this before they move forward with the wall.
We asked the president and his staff to come and look at our border because it's unique, and to see how we're working together and how we're trying to protect our land base here, as well as protect the U.S. citizens as well.
And while the Tohono O'odham Nation fights against the wall, the Navajo City Council is looking to keep jobs for Navajo workers. The City Council Committee has voted to extend its coal operating plant lease in northern Arizona. Two committees still have to decide on the legislation. Plant owners have set July 1st as the committee's deadline on their decision. If the tribe does not approve the lease, the plant will shut down by 2020.
And the Rockin' River Ranch in Camp Verde will now be a state park. The property was bought by park officials in 2008, and the recently approved Arizona budget includes $4 million to turn the ranch into a state park. For years, the ranch has been known as an environmental pearl for its location along the Verde River.
President Trump held a dinner last night for the Gold Star families.
And those are families, Emily, that lost their lives serving our country. Coming up on Cronkite News, we hear from one Arizona Gold Star member about the impact of this event.
Remembered as the greatest event in the 20th century, today is the anniversary of D-Day. What people are doing to commemorate the fallen soldiers.
I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. All my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive, right about about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Hallelujah, let that bass line move us. Yeah, it's good to be alive right about now. I think I finally found right about now.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Keeping one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you believe it?
The Mojave County will develop 3 budget proposals that would increase both sales and property taxes. The sales tax will increase by 16 cents, while the property tax will increase by 25. The third budget will account for no tax increases.
Last night, the President and the First Lady held a White House reception to honor Gold Star families, the surviving family members of fallen U.S. soldiers, but the event, coming less than a year after the President's feud with the Gold Star family during the campaign, left some of those families conflicted. Noelle Lilly brings us both points of view from Washington.
It was less than a year ago that President Trump came under fire for attacking a Pakistani-American Gold Star family.
His wife, if you look at his wife, she was standing there. She had nothing to say. Maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say.
These statements came after the Khan family, who lost their son in Iraq, criticized the president at the Democratic National Convention last summer.
However, last night, the president invited Gold Star families to the White House for a private reception with him, the First Lady, and the Vice President. But still, not all Gold Star families are ready to forgive and forget.
Kathy Upchurch is a Gold Star wife living in Glendale, whose husband, Marine Lieutenant James Glenn Upchurch, was killed in Vietnam in 1969.
The comments he made was really uncalled for a Gold Star family, because we have many, many different religions and many, many different cultures that serve our military, and many die for our country.
However, some Gold Star families feel differently.
He has been nothing but supportive for Gold Star families.
She added that she thought the president's position should be respected.
So I just know right now he's the president of the United States, and I respect and honor the president of the United States.
Upchurch, however, says that Gold Star families deserve respect too.
The more education that President Trump gets about what the cost of war is, that there's a family left behind, and they need to be taken care of.
In Washington, Noelle Lilly, Cronkite News.
Last night's event was closed to the press, but a White House statement said that in addition to the first couple, the reception included remarks from National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster and Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly.
And people across the nation are taking the time to remember an important date in our history today. 73 years ago, troops landed on the Normandy shore in France, winning one of the most important battles of World War II. Today, Americans pay tribute to the soldiers that risked their lives in D-Day. The battle since the end of World War II, D-Day has been known as one of the greatest victories of the 20th century, but it has also been known as the longest day, as thousands of soldiers lost their lives for their country.
This weekend, the USS Gabrielle Giffords will be commissioned in Texas. The ship is named after the former Arizona congresswoman who survived an assassination attempt in 2011. The Gabrielle Giffords is the 9th of a series of high-speed vessels. The $400 million ship is designed to navigate in shallow coastal regions. As temperatures are on the rise, so are pollution alerts.
Coming up on Cronkite News, what's behind the increase in those alerts, especially now that the summer is beginning.
We are still sitting under an excessive heat warning here in Phoenix, but not for too much longer. Your full 7-day forecast coming up.
I think I finally found my hallelujah. nah, nah.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Keeping one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you believe Officially from 36, and he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Keeping one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you believe
A concern for many as we head through these tough summer months is the air quality. You may have noticed there have already been quite a few pollution alerts this year. Well, this morning, the Maricopa County Air Quality Department hosted an Ozone 101 class to answer the many questions they have been getting from the community about why we have been seeing so many more of these alerts.
The Environmental Protection Agency lowered the health standard for ozone. They lowered from 75 parts per billion to 70 parts per billion. So that makes it much more challenging. And because of the lower health standard, it also triggers the high pollution advisories and the health watches. So that's why we're having so many more.
Hans says trends are actually showing that the air quality is getting better. But despite that, it is still important to do what we can for our air quality. The department is asking the public to make a commitment to 1 day a week to help fight ozone. Carpool or take public transportation if possible, and as always, refuel after dark.
And as the temperatures start to hit triple digits, it's important that we look after our furry friends. Blakely McHugh tells us how to care for our pets during the summer months.
This week marks the first excessive heat warning for the summer, and with those temperatures rising, you won't be able to take your pets out as much. The Humane Society spokesperson says they get around 40 to 50 calls a day, with a third to half of those calls related to heat.
The Arizona Humane Society's trauma hospital has seen these cases every summer. Some of the pets get to us in time and others don't, and it is horrific, but it's so preventable.
Although it's strongly advised that you don't leave your pets outside during the summer, there are little things that you can do to help keep them cool. One of those things is this freezer toy. You pop this guy in the freezer for 2 hours and you give it to your pet and it keeps him cool while he's outside. There are other toys like these, a cooling harness, a cooling water bowl, and even a cooling pet cot. But if you can't go out and buy these things, there are other ways to help your pets.
Make sure you have the ventilated, shaded space. You have plenty cool water in spill-proof plastic buckets. Never chain your pet outdoors.
If you do want to get your dog exercise, then take them on walks early in the morning or late at night when the temperatures are cooler. You should also avoid hiking or taking your dog to the store with you. A common thing that is seen by the Arizona Humane Society Trauma Center are dogs being left outside with no water or shade.
In the summertime, we get a lot of no water, no shelter calls, and also dogs tied up. And now in Phoenix, if it's over 100 degrees, if there's an excessive heat warning, they can't be tied up at all.
Nelson also said she sees a lot of burnt paws. A rule of thumb is to put your hand on the ground for 7 seconds. And if you can't withstand it, neither can your pet. In Phoenix, Blakely McHugh, Cronkite News.
And what do you do if you happen to see a pet outside without water or shelter? You can report it to the Humane Society. And that being said, you might want to consider this week's forecast before you take your pet for a walk. Our Emily Bloom has the weather forecast. Emily?
Yes, it's a toasty one today, Patricia. We are currently sitting at 106, mostly sunny and calm winds. Now we have a high today of 107, which we hit right around 4 o'clock. We'll have a low tonight of 83, and we set a record back in 2016 of 111. Now you may remember yesterday's record of 113 was also set just last year. And some temperatures across the state. We've got 86 at the Grand Canyon, 82 in Flagstaff, 86 in Show Low, and of course here in the valley we are still in those triple digits. That is because we are still under this excessive heat warning. That is just until tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And looking ahead at our 7-day forecast, tomorrow will also be bringing us our warmest day of the week at 108 degrees, and we will hold strong on those triple digits and clear blue skies through the beginning of next week.
And keeping your pets from the heat isn't the only thing you need to keep them healthy. That's right, coming up on Cronkite News, how the growing pet market has all the right things for our Valley friends.
You're a dreamer, don't hide it from anyone, don't hide it from anyone. Hey, would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life, this is what counts, this is for us. I will go
More people are going natural for their pets. According to Package Facts analysts, natural pet food sales reached $8.2 billion in 2016 and now make up 25% of the total U.S. pet food market. Fry Bennett takes us inside One Valley pet food company that's jumping on the bandwagon.
We want transparency in our food.
And we want to know what we're feeding our pets as well. Krista Hampton, a Thrive Life Foods consultant, says unlike pet foods that are processed, Thrive Life takes fruits and vegetables and freeze dries them without leaving out any nutrients, making it natural.
Our peaches have 21 times the vitamin C as a store-bought peach because we let things ripen on the vine.
I see a lot of really outstanding natural organic foods for our pets now because people are recognizing, and the veterinarian medicine is recognizing that there is a huge trend here.
Thrive Life customer Gretchen Hogg decided to go down the natural route for her dog after realizing processed foods were causing him severe gag reflexes and shortness of breath.
When I went to a natural pet store, the manager there said that take them off of all beef and chicken because those tend to be more adulterated, and also they're more injected with hormones and antibiotics.
Veterinarian Dr. Billy Hendricks says there are pros and cons to processed foods, but it depends on the animal.
You could feed 100 dogs the same food, the exact same food, and say maybe 15 dogs would have adverse events.
Hogg says other than Thrive, she hopes to find different alternatives to make sure her pets live a healthier life. In Phoenix, Fry Bennett, Cronkite News.
And if you're looking to adopt a pet, how now might be the time. The Maricopa County Animal Care Control is waiving adoption fees for some animals throughout the month of June. This means dogs that weigh 40 pounds or more can be adopted at no cost. Adoption fees for dogs and cats under 3 months are also waived, but only for this weekend. The MCACC is looking to make room for the expected increase of animals in need of shelter around the 4th of July.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On Arizona Horizon, hear from a national economist on how upcoming transportation projects in Arizona will create jobs. And June is National PTSD Awareness Month. That's at 5:30 Tuesday on Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour, how to teach children to decipher facts from falsehood in news reporting. That's Tuesday on the PBS News Hour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us.
For top Arizona stories, remember anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org. Thank you.